Welcome back to Nerd Radio on your social media at Nerd Radio 101, as well as wherever you're getting your podcast. What are you slouching over there for, Al?
I'm not slouching.
All right. No, the Twitch stream is like, I don't know, like 10 seconds behind. So I just look up and it's got the full room stuff, and you're like,
oh,
slouching over. Are you
Zodine on heroin?
Passing out over there?
I'm top heavy. What do you want from me?
Al, I got a comic for you.
All right.
Let me toss this
I'm
across.
not going to read it.
Let me toss this across.
Oh, we're getting yelled at. Here we go. We're in trouble.
I just need to let you guys know you need to clean up afterwards. All right. Last week we found a bunch of wrappers of Almond Joys over at Mike Position 1.
I don't know what you're
We
talking.
don't appreciate it. And happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's eating almond joys and not sharing with me? I'm kind of pissed now.
I think
know,
he's
me too.
implying that I had them over here. I am lactose intolerant, you
That's true.
insensitive bitch. I can't eat chocolate. I'm like a dog. I could die.
I'm like a dog. I could die.
I said that when
Oh, he's back.
I thought I got away with it because he was walking back. I thought he didn't
Hey,
hear
wait
it.
till the door
You gotta be
closed.
quick in that. There's the delay on the stream. We're always listening.
Always listening. Always. We're being monitored.
Checkpoint, big brother.
We're absolutely being monitored.
Oh, they should, though. We need it. Let's
true.
be honest.
Yeah, they need to know what content is going on over here. Here, Al,
Yeah.
catch.
Uh-oh. Whoa.
Dude, Pepsi Man standing up for our Nerd Radio justice.
I appreciate it.
I have nothing in front of me. I have no idea what's being said. I told one of them to F himself, and I really didn't mean it. I was just having fun.
All right.
Al gets his
Sorry,
kicks.
Jay Moore. I was just kidding.
Al gets his kicks by telling strange people on the internet to F off.
Right.
I know.
All right, so if you're in the comic stores the last couple of months, you may have seen this comic. It's by an independent company, and it's called Second Coming. And it's
Look at that, James.
if you're
Can't see.
yeah, you got it in front of the screen.
Yeah, you got it. There's a bunch of monitors.
Well, forget it.
Nice job.
I tried.
Test 1983 says no show today, just anarchy. That's usually the show, anyways.
Yeah. What am I looking at here?
All right, so it's an
Oh my
independent,
God.
It's an independent comic called Second Coming. If you were a fan of Preacher, whether it's the show or the comic, you might enjoy this comic book because the basis of it is that the Son of God comes back to Earth.
Jesus
comes back to Earth.
Oh my gosh.
God sends him back.
Jesus, oh my gosh.
God sends him back to Earth to learn how to be
A millennial?
a better Jesus, essentially, from the greatest superhero on Earth, which is an analog of Superman. I think he's called the Sun God or something like that.
Okay.
And
I like the concept.
yeah, this dude is kind of like, he's a Superman analog, but he's kind of a jerk. He's kind of like the boys, the superheroes in the boys. And God respects the Sun God guy, but like thinks Jesus is too soft. So he sends him back to Earth too. And it's a fun book to see the dichotomy of the two. Like Jesus is actually showing Sun God that like maybe he shouldn't just run up and punch people in the face. Maybe he should attack the problem that is making these people villains instead of, just taking care of things the way he does. At the same time, Jesus is they're almost in every issue of this particular thing. Somebody will mention something from the New Testament to Jesus. Like, well, it says in Mark 14:37, it's like, who's Mark? I didn't know any Mark. So there's an ongoing joke that like the New Testament was written by a bunch of people who didn't actually know Jesus. I don't know. As a fan of Preacher Al, I thought like I need to bring this in.
Yeah,
So it shows to Al.
as I was flipping through the pages, I mean, some of the first of all, the artwork is good.
Yeah.
But some of the images were striking too. Like you said, as a fan of Preacher.
Right. It's all right. It's a good book. Check it out. Second Coming. There you go. And of course, I encourage you guys to check out your local comic shop, comicshoplocator.com, when you do that. James, you bought some games over the weekend.
I did. Yeah, I got a couple games, new games to add to the collection. The Outer Worlds and the dreaded WWE 2K20.
Dreaded? Why is it dreaded?
Oh, it's getting lit up online.
Yeah, the reviews are
Yeah.
horrendous.
Pretty much.
That's the game Nate came in here a couple weeks ago and told us about.
Oh, that's right.
And they're gonna
Yeah, he did
patch
drop
it.
$60 on it like I did. Yeah, I know there's
They're gonna
plans
patch it
in the
in like
works
2 months.
to kind of fix it. I'm hoping. I want it to be a good total and complete utter shit show for me to sit down and do a review for casual gamer.
Right.
Like I want there to be bad things going on in it. I'm gonna have a couple of semi-professional local wrestlers come in and review the game with me for
Nice.
the next casual gamer. So I want there to be problems. That way we have material to tear it apart.
Yeah.
So I haven't installed it. I haven't done anything with it other than pick it up and put it down on my desk.
Well, that was my question because you posted on Friday that you'd pick both those games up. Had you gotten a chance to check either of them out?
I've been able to play the Outer Worlds a little bit, but
Okay.
I'm having like a killer migraine or something. I don't know. I'm getting this weird thing now where I get like these sharp, like jolting pains like behind my eyeball.
Is it just when you play the Outer Worlds?
No, it's like maybe it's from looking at screens or whatever. Maybe it's the change in the weather. I don't know what it is, but I know sinus medication and Tylenol and that kind of stuff's not really helping me. So it's like trying to focus on a video game has been rough. But I've put in maybe an hour or so into the Outer Worlds and I'm digging it. Like it seems like it's gonna be a lot of fun. I kind of like some of the things that they're alluding to in the game. I don't want to give anything away.
Sure.
But it's essentially like Fallout in space. And I know it's done by the same people who did Fallout New Vegas, which I know a lot of people who have given that game like a bunch of raving reviews. I never got into Fallout New Vegas.
Everybody I've seen on social media last week seems super stoked about it. I know that I think it was actually Robbie last week that asked me if I was going to be picking it up, and I was like, I don't know. But then as the weekend drew closer, I was like, man, I should ask him what he's playing it on, because then maybe like, is there multiplayer? Can you play with other people?
No, I think it's mostly strictly just like one player. It's all campaign, but it's like open world. You go do whatever the hell you want. You kind of decide if you're going to be a good guy, a bad guy, a neutral person.
Right.
I've already had, the option come up to where I can attack some of the like pseudo police type characters in the game.
Yeah.
But essentially, so the game is they're colonizing some other planet, and it's a 10-year journey to get from Earth to this new planet. But they like would knock your ass out, you fall asleep. So 10 years would actually feel like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So you were a part of a ship that got kind of like derailed from your destination,
from the planet you were supposed to go to.
Correct.
And you're on this foreign world that you don't know anything about.
Yeah. Well, what happens is there's like a mad scientist guy who's wanted by this big corporation or these people that run this other planet, and he finds with this ship that's been like lost, and he can only bring back one person. He's got enough like life juice to bring back one person, and the person he brings back is the character that you create.
Okay.
So then you come back, and he's like, I need you to help me get more life juice. That's not what it's called. I'm making up
Sure, yeah.
That would
dumb
be cool
terms
if it was
for
called
it.
life juice.
He's like, I need more life juice. Go here, and then he drops you onto a planet. He's trying to set you up with somebody who's going to help you, kind of show you the ropes. But that you find out something bad about that person, and then you kind of start the journey on your own with this mad scientist like in your ear, like, you got to go do this, you got to go do that, find this for me. So
I don't know. I'm interested in it, but I also feel like it's going to be one of those games that just feels way too large.
it's probably going to be big, but I like them big.
Because every Fallout game I've ever tried, I play for about an hour, and I'm like, there's too much game. I'm never going to get through all of this.
Feels too
Clearly,
large, huh?
he's clearly not a size queen.
I say that, but I just hit the 30-hour mark in Final Fantasy 15. So Amy was like, you must like this game. You've been playing it for like 26 hours. I'm like, I still don't know. It's just something to do.
See,
30 hours. You put 30 hours in and you don't know if you like it or not?
I don't know.
That's like, if I put 30 hours into anything, it better be fun, or I better enjoy it, or I better be getting some sort of a benefit out of it, you know?
I barely put 3 hours into a game that I love.
Yeah. Like I said, at this point, it's like, it's something to do for an hour.
Now it's just become like a habit. Now you just developed the Final Fantasy habit.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, maybe
You're
eventually
definitely
that gets to the
not
end of the
selling
habit.
me on Final Fantasy 15.
I can't
Yeah.
sell it to anybody.
I'm glad I bought it for whatever it was, $10 or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. Going back to WWE 2K22 is that apparently Sony is giving refunds now if you bought it digitally.
Oh,
For
really?
the PlayStation. If you are unhappy with what a piece of junk it is, Sony will refund you fully for it.
I mean, there's been so many things going around the internet that are hilarious, little glitches that are taking place in the game. There's even a scene that Chuck's fiance had shared where it looks like Charlotte Flair's got another wrestler in a finishing move, and then the referee
Jesus.
keeps kind of morphing around the ring, and next thing you know, Charlotte Flair's mouth kind of lines up right where the referee's junk would be.
Yep.
And it looks like the referee is getting a very acrobatic BJ in the middle of the ring.
He was twitching and stuff.
Yeah,
It looked very inappropriate.
he looked like he was enjoying himself.
It did. While we're talking about wrestling, I just saw this morning. So we're a couple days away from WWE Crown Jewel, their Saudi Arabia event that most people think is garbage.
Yeah.
But this year, they're actually going to be having the first ever women's match in Saudi Arabia.
There's going to be a match for sure.
They announced that the first ever women's match will take place. It's going to be Natalya versus Lacey Evans. So not two of the more notable, women's wrestlers.
Also a match we've seen probably a dozen times.
Yeah.
Pay-per-views and Raws and SmackDowns and all that. We've already seen this match about over a dozen times.
Right. But it is historic that, they have finally, it's taken them a couple events to finally get the Saudi Arabian government.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the crowd reacts, because I don't think that's something they typically would see, women putting on a display like that in a public forum.
Right. Obviously they're doing this event over in Saudi Arabia. They're getting a whole bunch of money to do the event, but they must have television over there. So unless they just don't show any of the women's wrestling, it feels like it's the kind of thing, like you said, like they've seen it on TV before, so they know it exists. They just, because of their government and the rules over there, the culture, that it's not allowed to happen there.
Right. Do we know, is this strictly just because of the fact that it's women performing and that's kind of frowned upon in that society, or does it have anything to do with their outfits? Is it because it's kind of revealing, has something to do with exposed too much skin?
I know that a couple of years ago it was another country over there. They did an event where it was Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss wrestled over there, and it was the first time that they had wrestled, that women had wrestled, for in that country, and they had to wear an outfit that was just neck to toe.
Oh, okay, so that'll be something interesting to see too. So when this match does happen,
right? What is
Lacey Evans still wearing her top with her, her midriff open, her mom kind of bottoms that she wears?
Or is she going to be, completely covered?
Yeah, and is Natalya going to be wearing her jumpsuit that's real see-through on the sides?
Right.
She's actually exposed herself a couple times if you watch the Divas show like I do.
Yeah.
What's happened.
They're really going to have to do something as far as the stories that are going on. Like The Fiend is going to face Seth Rollins again. Unless The Fiend wins, I don't care.
Well, I hope it's going to be an actual match. I don't think there's going to be a winner determined. I think there'll be some sort of a weird ending, and now The Fiend and Seth Rollins are going to go their separate ways because they're on separate brands. Rollins being on Raw, Fiend being on SmackDown. That whole thing is going to be done and over with. I think they're doing it just because of the hype behind The Fiend, and they probably use that as a way to pull out more of those Saudi Arabian dollars.
Oh, I'm sure.
Those sultans or princes or whatever those guys are, just coughing up the big bucks.
Otherwise, though, it's definitely an event that I'm not. I got stuff to do Friday.
Yeah, I probably won't watch it live, and it is Halloween.
Yeah,
so I don't really have a lot going on. I plan on doing a stream on my Twitch channel, but I'm not gonna be able to do that because I'm missing some pieces to my Halloween costume. So it's not gonna happen. But I still have plenty of other things to do to occupy my time, and I'll probably end up watching the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view over the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the beauty of the network.
Yeah, is that you can watch stuff, something like NXT or something like that.
I would have loved to have had that when I was watching wrestling.
I know, right? Instead of paying $40 or $60 for a pay-per-view, you just pay $10 a month and you can get all that stuff.
I think when I was into wrestling, I only saw 2 pay-per-views. One of them was, and I think they were from the same year. It was a Royal Rumble, and I think my buddy's dad had bought it for him, and he, copied the tape, and I got to watch it after the fact.
Right.
And then he actually invited us over, and there was 4 of us who watched the WrestleMania that year. And that was it. That was the only pay-per-views I ever saw when I was watching.
Well, yeah, when they went to monthly, I probably shouldn't mention this on the air, but I found one of those. I ordered one of those boxes on the internet that is would descramble stuff because no, I don't want to pay for the $30-$40 for the September pay-per-view that doesn't really matter. But I'd like to know what happened. But WrestleMania, hell yeah, I'll pay $50 for WrestleMania. That's the big one.
We all got together and pooled our money together. So there'd be 4 or 5 of us. We'd all throw in $10. So we'd order it. Or we'd have to find someone's house whose parent would allow us to order it.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we'd get together and throw some money in. I'd probably end up going in and dropping $20, and we get the pay-per-view.
Order a couple pizzas.
Get some pizza.
Right.
Hang out and, just watch wrestling. So.
I mentioned earlier too that I've been playing. I've been quite busy over the weekend. I kind of hit my limit of the games that have events for around a holiday. It's obviously Halloween is this week, and Overwatch for the last couple of years does an event for Halloween, and I like the event because they give you a 4 people versus the computer
So there's like a special match that you play.
Yes.
You can play as many times as you want type deal.
Yeah.
To unlock different Halloween-themed goodies.
Exactly.
Skins,
And the way,
emotes, and that type of
yeah,
stuff.
in Overwatch, every week you can get a loot box for every 3 games you win, up to, like 3 loot boxes. So I like to do that during these seasonal things because I don't have to play against other people and lose. I could just play against the computer with 3 other people and just beat it down. And all right, cool, we're a team, yay. But that coupled with Magic the Gathering Arena, which constantly has daily quests that you can hey, summon 20 creatures or, play at least 20 red or green cards or something like that.
Is that a lot? Like 20 creatures seems like a lot, but I
think
played a Magic the Gathering battle.
An average game you're probably going to get maybe 10.
Okay, so they're making you play probably
Making you play like 2, maybe 3 games in order to get these things done. On the Switch for Tetris 99 over the weekend, there was a Luigi's Mansion event where you had to win.
because that game comes out tomorrow.
Right,
It's on Halloween.
You had to win a couple of games to get up to 100 points in order to get a skin for your Tetris 99 game or something like that. And I realized, because I have Rocket League on the Switch, they have a Halloween event going on where you can get these Stranger Things stuff for your car.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so all weekend, I would play Final Fantasy 15 for about, 30, 45 minutes, and then spend the next 4 hours playing all these other games to knock down the daily quests.
That's how they get you. Well, that's how they get you to come back. That's how they pump their numbers up with the daily quest type
Yeah.
stuff, because they got everybody coming in every day to try to do your daily quests. Like I try to complete my daily quest on Realm Royale every day.
Right.
Because it helps level your character up. You get more experience when
You
you
get
complete
experience,
a daily quest.
you get credits or you get items, in-game items and stuff like that. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. I'll be really happy when Halloween's over and I can at least put 2 of these games down.
Right.
Because holy moly.
Well, you've got another 120 hours of Final Fantasy ahead of you.
I do. I looked it up and I'm only at I'm at chapter 6 or 7 and there's 14 chapters.
All right.
Well,
Well,
so, halfway through.
Yeah.
Now, is there a game that you can recall that you thought was the coolest in terms of like a festive event?
Oh, when those festive events happen? Like I said, I like the Overwatch events when they make it player versus environment. And that's one of the things about Overwatch 2 that there is rumors that there's just going to be a player versus environment mode.
You see, my favorite, I used to play this game on my phone, The Simpsons Tapped Out.
Okay.
Which is like a little it was like just a total time killer type game.
Yeah.
Where you'd build like a Simpsons, like Sim City type thing. But you'd have to send you'd have to send Homer to the nuclear factory to work for 9 hours.
Right. Abu would have to go to the
the Quickie Mart.
Mart.
So then as they do that, you're generating coins or whatever. But every holiday, so like Halloween, they'd have Halloween type characters you could unlock if you got so many, candies or whatever. And you got candies by having your characters do these things. And I was obsessed with that Simpsons Tapped Out game forever. And I don't even know how I got pulled away from it.
Right.
There's probably some sort of issue with my phone to where I lost everything. But that's the coolest thing I could recall, because you'd get these cool characters from The Simpsons that would only be around Halloween time.
Right.
Or you'd only get you'd get like Christmas Homer, or you get like Barney as Mr. Plow.
Right.
You could unlock those little characters that you just send to go do different jobs.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think my favorite is probably I was playing a similar game that was called Avengers Academy.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was all the Avengers characters, but they were going to a high school, so you
almost
have to,
in a sense they're learning to become the Avengers.
Right, exactly. So you had like a teenage Tony Stark and a teenage Hulk and stuff. And one of the reasons I got super into it is because Teenage Hulk was one of the last ones you could unlock, but they all had voice work, and Black Widow was voiced by Alison Brie, which was kind of cool from Community.
Cool. Yeah.
And the Hulk was voiced by John Cena.
What?
Yes.
What? John Cena was Teenage Hulk?
Yes.
Damn.
I am sad to report, James, this game no longer
exists, of course.
Oh, what a tease. Poor James.
But during, the time that the Avengers movies were coming out and stuff like that, every time, like when the first Guardians movie came out, they had a Guardians of the Galaxy event for that month where you would come in every day and do your daily quests, and you could unlock Rocket and, Star-Lord and everybody, which was super fun.
Very
So
cool.
that was probably my favorite.
Could you imagine a Teenage Hulk? Just knowing what I would get up to as a teenager, he'd be constantly pounding it away in the bathroom.
I seem to recall him yelling about homework. He didn't like homework.
Whatever.
Hulk smash
wasn't
homework.
doing homework. They just had to do that to make it safe for kids.
Right.
You know what Hulk's really doing? Hulk smash.
Hulk is smashing, all right.
Hulk smash. Wiener.
That reminds me of some. Okay. So that reminds me of some comic book news that I wanted to tell you about because I wanted to get your opinion on it because I feel like it's going to be entertaining. So we'll talk about it next. Coming up after the break, it's Nerd Radio.